So this is a Kaggle notebook. Firstly, we will be importing the Pandas library. So after that, for creating the data using the Pandas library, we can create the data in two ways. So either we can create a data frame or we can create a series. So data frame is nothing but a table. It contains an array of individual entries, each of which has a certain value. Each entry corresponds to a row and a column. We can create a sample data frame using this syntax. So pd.dataFrame, inside it there will be a dictionary of values. Each value will be corresponding to the rows and columns. So this roll number corresponds to the column name, and these are the values that will be put into the column roll number. The marks is another column name which contains the values 50 and 87. So data frame can contain any type of data in any tabular format. So we can add additional columns, as well as we can use the index function, index attribute, to label the rows as well. So here we have labeled the rows as product A and product B, while we have labeled the columns as reviewer 1 and reviewer 2. So that's about the data frames. So series is, by contrast, is a sequence of data values. So if a data frame is a table, series is a list. So series is a single column of a data frame. So here is a sample code for creating a series. Here we can see we are passing down a list of values to the series which will contain as a single column. So however, a series does not have a column name, it only has one overall name. So we can only assign overall name to the series. So you can also assign row labels to the series as like this: product A or product B, same as before, using the index parameter. So here we have labeled the index as physics, chemistry and maths for this corresponding series. Hence, data frame is just a bunch of series glued together. So one of the important functions using the pandas is to read the values from an uploaded file. Commonly, an uploaded file will be a CSV format file or a comma separated file which contains a table of values separated by commas. We can utilize the read CSV function to upload or read the content of a CSV file. In here, we will be utilizing Spaceship Titanic, which is a sample project used in Kaggle. So once the read CSV is utilized, the data will be stored in a particular variable. We can use the shape function to know what are the shapes of the particular datasets which we have imported. So when we use this one, we can see that it have 8693 records in 14 different columns. Once data is being stored in a particular data, we can use the head function to view the first 5 row elements of that particular data. So in here we can see when we run this head function, it will display the first 5 rows of all the data frames that have been stored in here. So if we want to check in individual column wise also, we can do that also. So here home planet is a column, so when we run this, okay, let me just quickly run this one. Okay, it will display this one. So if you want to check other cryosleep as well, we can just probably, yeah, it will display the elements of the cryosleep. So next is indexing in pandas. So most of the indexing data frame is similar to the common Python indexing operations. However, pandas provide an extra access of operators like index based selection and label based selection. Index based selection is nothing like selecting the data frames data using the index. So here we will be utilizing the ilog operations. To select the first row of data in a data frame, we will be utilizing the ilog of 0. It will display all the elements of the first row. So we can also use more advanced indexing like specifying whichever the rows and columns which needs to be displayed. So here it will display the second and third entries of the first column. So here it it will be displaying the second and third entries of the first column only. So this is about the index based selection. Let us talk about the label based selection. Label based selection is, as the name suggests, it will be utilizing the label of or the column name to traverse through the data. So in here, if you want to look at the first row of values of a specific column, you can just type dot log operator, then column name. It will be displaying the column Europa. If you want to check at the second row, then just type 0 and it will be displaying the name. Much like reading the values from a data frame, we can also use the data frame to assign values to it. It is just similar as any other Python operation, assigning Python operations. So we just have to specify which column or which cell which we have to update the value, then assign the value. In here we are assigning the values to a particular food code column, and the data frame has updated the value as such. So if we change, instead of this, let's just put another value. Let's say if I do 45, it will be updating the value such 45 itself. The next is summary functions. We can the Python library Pandas has an inbuilt set of functions which can utilize to have a summary of the data frames which we are using. So some of the summary functions used in Pandas are describe, mean, unique, value counts. So first is the describe. It will give a summary of the content of the selected columns of the data frames. So it's a type aware property. It means output changes with the type of data in the data frame. So let's look at the column home planet. When we use the describe function for the particular home planet, then it will display as there will be an 8492 counts in that particular column. 3 of them are which are unique, and the top is Earth, and there is a frequency of 4602 for the Earth. So that's it about the home planet column. Let's look at another one, which is the food code, which we are currently changed. So if we look at the food code and describe it, we can see that the data type is float64. In here it was an object. Once it is float or an integer data type, it will create the mean, std and the minimum of the particular data in that column. Next is the mean function. The mean will create an arithmetic mean of all the data in that particular column. So if we look at the mean function of the column food code, it will say that 4347. So median function, as the name suggests, it will produce a median of the values of that particular column. Mean and median of this particular column will produce the same result. The next is unique. As the name suggests, it will list down the unique elements of a column. The home planet contains the unique 3 elements: Europa, Earth, Mars and NAN. Next is value counts. To see a list of unique values and how often they occur in the dataset. It is same as unique, but it will be displaying all the unique values in a separate manner. So if we look at the same function, if we use the same function in the home planet column, we can see that it will display all the unique values. You can see the unique values were Europe, Earth, Mars. So Europa, Earth and Mars will be displayed in a sense that how often they are being used. They are used for creating new representation from existing data, how transforming the current data to a newer version as per our user need. The main function used for maps are map and apply. Maps will produce an output of a series. Maps are mainly used for column transformations. In here we are using the column transformation of the column home planet to change the values from Europa and Mars to corresponding Titan and red giant. It will change the value of Europa to the Titan, and it will change all the values in home planet of Mars as red giant, and it will produce a series of name list, and we can print that one. In the case of apply, it is same as map, but instead of just transforming a single column, it will be transforming the whole data frame itself. For the whole transformation, we will be utilizing a custom function for this. So in here I have created a custom function called stars, which will check whether the columns uh, it will take the rows as input, and it will check whether the columns VIP is true and the cryosleep is true, then it will return a particular value. If not, it will return another values. As same as maps, it will produce a series as well. So when we print this one, it will produce a series of a single column. Grouping is an important step in data engineering. As we will be dealing with a lot of data, it is necessary to group the data in order to provide a deep insight of the data. So we will be using the following functions for group based analysis. First is group by. Group by can be used in any column along with any aggregate function to produce a result as intended. So here I have grouped the column named VIP with respect to the size of it. So it will produce a series which contains the VIP column and its values along with the size, which is grouped in terms of size. Aggregate is nothing but we can use multiple similar aggregate functions in a single column. So in here I have used the min max aggregate functions inside the aggregate function itself, so that it can produce a group by result as per this one. So in here when you look at this, the passenger ID will have a minimum and maximum value with respect to the room service. The IDs match method returns a series with the index of the maximum value for each column. So in here I have defined a data sales 23, 34, 56 and age 50, 40 and 30, and I have created a data frame out of it. So if I look at the IDs match of this particular data frame, it will give the sales as 2 and the age of 0. The IDs match function will give out the index position of the highest number of that corresponding column. So in here the sales column will contain the maximum value at the position 2. That means the 56 is the highest number which of the sales column, and in the age column it will contain in the highest number will be contained in the position 0, which is 50 itself. Let's move on to the data types of the data frames. So these are the particular functions that can be used to describe particular values in the data frames itself, small operations in the data frames itself. The first one is D type. D type is mostly used for finding out the data type of a particular column. So if we search out for the D type of the particular room service column, it will return as float 64. D types is another one which will shows the data type of every column of the data frame. If we check of the D types of the data frame spaceship underscore data, it will list out all the columns and its corresponding data types. As type is nothing but changing the data type of a particular column. In here I have changed the value of home planet column to the string from the object itself. Next is fill-in function. We will be filling the NaN values of each column with the values which we require. In here I have filled all the values of the column home planet with the values Na. So it will be replacing, if there is any values which contain Na, it will be replaced with the Na. So this is another replace function. This replace function will replace the function the values which we have provided. So I have replaced all the Na which we have filled right now with the value not available. So next is sort values. The name suggests itself, it will be sorting based on some particular value. I have sorted out the home planet column, and we can see it will be shown in a descending order. Next is renaming a column or index. So we can renaming a column or index, it will be getting a dictionary as the input. So I have renamed the column shopping mall to the mall, and we can see that the shopping mall has been renamed to the mall. Rename axis is a bit different from the rename function, as it will be renaming the axis of the data frame. Here the data frame have two axes, column and rows. In here I have renamed the rows axis to data, so it will be displaying the rows axis as data. We can also rename the column axis as per our need. Next is combining operators. Combining operators are used to combine two data frames or columns as per the user's need. So we can either use concat operator, which will concatenate one data frame onto another one. As you can see, both the home planet and transport are having different values, but once it is concatenated, it will be represented in a single column itself. Joining is another one which can be utilized to join two data frames with same indexes. If the data frame contains same indexes, two more attributes should be used, else suffix and right suffix, so that it can distinguish the two data frame values and join accordingly. In here I have joined the data 4 data frame into the data 3 one. Merging is same as the joining one. It will be merging two data frames into a single one. Okay, that's it about Pandas. In today's section we have learned about the Python library Pandas and the main functions that are being associated with the Pandas and how it can be used in the Python or Jupyter environment. Thank you. Have a nice day.